What do you see when you look forward to 2025? Do you ever wonder what your life is going to look like with the massive changes taking place on this planet? Today, I want to show you how you can be in charge of your own destiny no matter what is happening here on planet Earth. Hi, I'm Saratoga Ocean, and I work together with an interdimensional, interuniversal, and extraterrestrial force known as Telstar, along with Archangel Michael. And my goal is to help you navigate the coming changes on Earth so that you can stay on the highest possible path of ascension and human evolution. Now, because we are facing so many profound changes, I've been thinking a lot about a couple of things. Starting with, what is it that we humans really want? What is it that we actually desire? I think what we all really want in our hearts is we want the freedom to move forward and evolve in the best way that we desire to do so. We just really want the freedom to create and the freedom to live our very best lives. That's just a natural inner mandate that we come to this earth with. We all just want to live a great life. It's really that simple. But here's the problem. The problem, if we were to identify it in its simplest form, the one thing that stands in our way more than anything else is the fact that we have been living on a slave planet for thousands of years. And I'm going to show you today how we might be approaching a window of opportunity where we might actually be able to free ourselves in ways that are so profound, it could be beyond our wildest imaginations. You know, we have learned to take struggle for granted. We just assume that struggle and hardship and difficulty in terms of our ability to change is just normal and natural and part of being alive. But what if that's not really true? What if all of this struggle and difficulty and constantly feeling obstacles externally and within ourselves, what if it does not have to be this way? Let's really consider this at a whole new level. And let's start with the very central fact that we have indeed been living as slaves for a very long time. In fact, we've been doing it for so long, we don't even think about it anymore. We think it's normal. We think it's natural. We think it's just the way it is. But it's actually not. And I'm going to show you how that is true in this video. Now, before I get into this, I do have an announcement for you guys. I have an exclusive private membership that I call the Cosmic Journey Membership. I will be opening the doors to my membership sometime in February. I only open the doors once or twice a year. This is an incredible opportunity for you to receive ongoing support in your journey on this planet, no matter what happens on the earth. And the cool thing about it, the reason I love this membership so much is because it gives me an opportunity to work with people over a period of time, and it allows me to share things that I don't share anywhere else. It allows me to share much more in-depth information about our evolution as human beings on a practical individual level, because that's what our goal is. Our goal is for the people in the membership to be able to move forward much more quickly without having to figure everything out on their own. And it's just a wonderful space. I absolutely love it. If this is something that interests you, I do have a wait list, and I will put a link in the description so you can sign up and get on the wait list, and then you will be the first to know when the doors open in February. Okay, so let's talk about the possibility and the vision of living on a planet that actually supports us instead of feeling like we are being subverted at every turn. Now, when I say a planet that supports us, of course, I'm not referring to the natural planet Earth, because nature always supports us. Nature is an incredible support. The Earth, the solar system, the galaxy, all of it supports us beautifully. We're perfectly integrated to be in these natural systems and evolve as the human creators that we are. The thing that's subverting us is not the actual planet, of course. The thing that's subverting us is the system that we have been born into here on Earth that has nothing whatsoever to do with who we really are. So instead of just talking about things like, well, wouldn't it be nice if this thing changed or that thing changed or this other thing over there was different, I want to start by going to the core, our actual core mandate as human creators. That is the mandate that we carry within our hearts, within our souls, within our deepest selves. It's a mandate that is not limited to the finite world of planet Earth or this finite dimension of what many call 3D. It's actually an ongoing mandate that is with us throughout our time in the cosmos and in the universe. And that singular mandate is evolution. It is to evolve back into love, back into wholehearted creation and creativity, because we are designed to function as creators. It's a mandate to come back into who we really are and become a part of something that is so much bigger than the little selves we think we are here on planet Earth. So we carry that mandate even when we're born here into this slave system. That mandate here on Earth never has a chance to even see the light of day because it is suppressed and buried from the moment we take our very first breath. So I think it is high time that we as human beings tune back into that original mandate of who we really are, uncover it, and give it renewed credibility and renewed importance. Because honestly, you guys, anything else is just putting it off. We're going to have to come to terms with this sooner or later in some lifetime or another on some planet or something. So there's no reason to wait anymore because we might be approaching an amazing window of opportunity, which is what I'm going to share with you as we get further into this video. Now, I'm sure that before we ever come to planet Earth, before we're ever born here, we're probably awake, we're aware, we can't wait to get going. We're thinking, yes, let's go down to there to planet Earth and let's just keep moving forward in our evolutionary journey. But then the very moment we're born, probably even happens the moment we're conceived, right? We don't even realize all of a sudden the doors begin to close on that original powerful mandate to move forward in the universe and the cosmos, to move forward indimensionally as an evolving being. The doors begin to close on that mandate. And we're born and we don't even know what happened. We're like, what the heck is going on here? Because see, no one appears to acknowledge who we really are and what we're even doing here at all. No one. Instead, we're told by outside forces, no, this is who you are, this is who you're supposed to be, and this is what you're supposed to be doing. And then we're measured throughout our entire lives about how well we are in compliance with this, I'm going to call it an alien agenda. The reason I'm calling it an alien agenda is because it is alien to who we really are as human creators. So I want to talk about this at a very practical level, not an esoteric level, not an abstract level, but a very physically practical level. Because the physicality of our difficulty is something that we all tend to completely overlook, take for granted, say, well, I don't know, this is just how things are. We just accept it. We accept it because we were forced to accept it from the time we were born. Now, because we are powerful creators by nature, we are seen as very useful slaves. But as creators, our creativity must be kept under control, and it must be directed according to the agenda of those who are supposedly in charge of our lives. And there are lots of people in charge of our lives when we come here to Earth, aren't there? There are religions, there are corporations, there is the so-called educational system, which I don't think is about education at all. I think it's actually about obedience. It's obedience training for slaves. So school, in my opinion, should never be confused with education. Education is very, very important. It's called learning. We are natural learners. We love to learn. But school often kills off our desire to learn. And that is another thing that has stood in our way for a very long time. Because school is such a miserable experience for most people that they just can't wait to get out. And they believe, because they've been graded their whole entire lives, they've been told that you do this for a certain number of years according to what someone else tells you you must learn. And when you're done, you think, okay, good, I'm done learning, because learning was a really bad experience. And that's just a great way to get us all under control, to kill off our natural desire to learn, to understand, to create. All of those things that are natural, that are our powers as human beings, are killed off by this slave system. Have any of you guys ever had a dog and you took that dog to obedience training? Do you realize that school is very much like obedience training for dogs? You give the dog a command, and the idea is for the dog to learn what the command is and then follow that command precisely by doing what it is told to do. So then you can say, this is great. The dog has learned exactly what I wanted it to learn. Well, that's how you do obedience training for a dog. The way you do obedience training for humans takes a whole lot longer. It takes 20-some years. I mean, you cannot train a human being in like a 4-week course like you can a dog. So you have to make it a lot more complicated, a lot more persistent. You have to wear that person down over the years. And most importantly, you have to kill and destroy their desire to learn on their own, their natural inspiration to learn on their own. And then people think they don't need to learn anything anymore. That's why people believe the news. See, they believe the news because they're done with learning, and now the news is going to tell them everything else that they need to know as a grown adult. Now, I am not here to suggest that there should be no academic studies. That's not what I'm saying at all. What I'm talking about is the way that it's all framed. It's like this. You go to school and you learn certain skills, or you learn certain things. Some of them are very valuable, such as reading and writing and math and things like that. Maybe some science, maybe some history. But here's the problem. It's not framed as though any of this is really done for your benefit, is it? No. It's framed as though, no, this is for the teacher to give you a good grade. This is for you to get approval from the system that you are an obedient person who knows how to do exactly what you're told. So in your mind, you may not even be thinking that any of this is to serve you. In fact, I think school goes on for way too long. I think you could teach a human being the skills they need to function and learn for the rest of their lives and create in a much shorter period of time. So school is there to reframe learning into being about obedience. It's also there to crush our creativity. Because when you are controlled physically and your mind is controlled by others telling you what you are supposed to be thinking, what is the correct thought to be having, when that's going on, you are being utterly, totally, and completely disempowered. You are being set up to be told what to do by outside authorities for the rest of your life. Now, the reason I'm harping on this, you guys, is because this is like 20 years of our lives. This is how we get controlled and set up into living as slaves until we die. And this is the system that is being used to get us under control as the powerful creators that we really are. And like I said, it takes a very long time. It could even take as long as a quarter of a century to get a creator under total control for this slave system. So then we're considered well prepared when we get our diploma, then we get our degree or degrees, and we're all set to go and get a job. Because we've learned how to be obedient. We've learned how to do what we're told. We've learned that learning is always about learning for someone else's agenda. So it seems very natural to just go get a job. And it doesn't matter if you hate it. It doesn't matter if you hate your job, because you have been trained to be okay with hating the work that some authority figure is telling you to do. You spent your entire childhood and early adulthood being trained to do that. That's the obedience training I was talking about. And behind the scenes are the corporations, the big banking systems, and the governments, the politicians, all of these people who are in charge of the world. Behind the scenes, they are all deciding what the jobs are going to be that we are supposed to do, because they have their own agenda, which has nothing to do with who we really are as human creators and why we are here on this planet or any other planet. And I think as humans, we are essentially seen as groups of cattle to these people. We're seen in very much the same way. And thus we are trapped in a system that basically prevents our collective evolution. And you know what's really funny? I was thinking about how everyone's so worried that AI is going to steal our creativity. But guys, do you understand that the system we've been in, this slave system, has already stolen a very high percentage of our creativity, like maybe as much as 80% or 90%. I mean, most of our creativity has already been stolen by these controllers of this planet. And the fact that our creativity has been suppressed, repressed, and stolen is the exact reason that we have not been able to get out of this system. Because the entire system on this planet is designed to snuff out our creative power so that we can be kept under control and used for nefarious purposes. And I was thinking about the irony of worrying about AI, because if you think about it, AI doesn't really have a whole lot to work with from humans as we've been thus far, because so much of what's good about us has already been either repressed, removed, destroyed, or taken away. So it's not even like it's got this amazing pool of humanity to draw from. That's what's so crazy about this whole situation. So now, before I get to talking about the possible window of opportunity, I want to give you or show you a very concise definition of what it is we've actually been tolerating for our entire lives, for generations of human lives. We spend the first 20 to 25 years of our lives in school, starting with daycare, where we are told what to think, how to think, and what we're supposed to be doing with the majority of our time. And if we don't do this well, we will be punished and we will be shunned. Thus, we become extremely rigid thinkers. We become fixated on a very small set of beliefs that we will devote our entire lives to protecting. And then, in all of our unhappiness and frustration, we find that even though we want to change, we actually can't change because now we have a job. And that job has eaten up all of our time and has consumed whatever is left of our lives. You want to know well, you've probably already figured this out, but the very clever way that they keep us in this situation is really rather simple. The economic system is structured in such a way as to keep most people economically poor and struggling to make ends meet. Notice I'll never teach anyone about money in school, right? No, we're not supposed to know anything about that. Oh no, we're just supposed to do what we're told and be completely ignorant about how we acquire wealth. So keeping everyone in a state of ongoing financial struggle is meant to serve as an incentive to keep people doing the jobs that they hate. It becomes a survival issue. Oh, and here's the icing on the cake. We have the religions who come in, the wonderful cult of religions that tell us that God loves poverty and money is the root of all evil. And if you have money, you're working for the devil. So then we become very nervous about ever having any real money, right? Because that would mean we're bad. That would mean God might not love us. That would mean that we're not worthy of God's love. This famous affirmation, money is the root of all evil. This is a wonderful affirmation to instill in people's consciousness if you want them to totally sabotage themselves and put up with just about anything. So I think it is time that we question all of this. It is time that we go back to that original mandate that we came here with as human creators. We look at this whole system that we've been living through for generations and say, hold on a minute. This is not a match to who we are. This is not a match to evolution. This is not a match to the universe and the direction it's going in. This is actually a slave system where we're being used for our entire lives to fulfill an agenda that we actually don't even know anything about. So all of the limitations that we have been suffering from that we did not need to be suffering from, we only suffered from them because they were put on us from birth. These are the limitations. These are the mental constructs that we are going into 2025 with. And what we see now is that all of the structures that created that slavery, those structures are beginning to collapse. But weirdly enough, that's not being accounted for when it comes to the millions and millions of human beings who are kind of left holding the bag, like left high and dry. Like, what do we do now? You know, I like to think of the fires, those terrible fires that just happened in California, as being almost like a metaphor for what's going on right now. We do not want to go into 2025 and the coming years after that like people whose house just burned down and they were totally unprepared and don't know. And I'm not suggesting that people in California should have been prepared. I don't think it's the people at all. I think it's that's another topic. But just being unprepared, unaware, not even knowing what was going to happen because the slave system we were born into made us extremely unconscious, extremely straitjacketed in terms of our own capabilities to evolve and create and move and change and be empowered. We're kind of left with the results of having lived through that slave system. And now they want to burn it all down. And they're just leaving everybody like, well, what are we supposed to do? Right? I think what we need to do is get ahead of it by questioning the system we've been living in that got us to a point of such dire unconsciousness and having no clue where to go from here. We can question it so that we can let go of it. We can question it so that we can stop putting all of our faith into something that has made us, and this is not a judgment, but has made us feel kind of stupid about everything. Meaning, we feel like we have so little confidence in ourselves, we have so little creativity left, that we have to look outside of ourselves for instructions about how to do literally everything. So now we are at a point where AI is ready to bust through this entire slave system that's been around for so long. And let's just say the modern day version of it is about 100 years old. It's ready to bust through that slave system and turn it into something else entirely. And I think this could be the point where we have a chance to break free. We have a chance to break free because everything is about to be completely disrupted. The old slave system is going to completely break down because it is no longer suited to artificial intelligence technology. But here is the big problem. The corporations and the government controllers know this, and unfortunately, they still consider us to be their slaves. They literally see us as their property. What do you think the digital ID is all about? That's like branding cattle. That's what that is. So what they intend to do is they intend to use AI to imprison us in our coming uselessness. They want to imprison us in their 15-minute cities and force us to eat bugs and fake food grown in labs. Because you see, they look at us as human capital, and they still see us as the greatest prize of all. They are not about to set us free, that's for sure. That doesn't mean they're going to get away with it. Here is a fascinating little tidbit for you guys to think about. Do you want to know what these controllers fear the most? They fear our creativity. They know that our creativity is our power, and they cannot afford to have that power unleashed. Because if our creativity is set free, they lose control and they are done. So the chief effort of these controllers is to suppress and redirect our creativity. Now, I have wondered, and maybe you guys have wondered too, I have wondered, what is their obsession with controlling us using AI? Why? Why do they care? I mean, they want to control every single breath we take, every single thing we do. They want to monitor us, surveil us inside our bodies and outside. I mean, it is so extreme. It is bizarre. And I ask myself, like, why? What kind of charge are they getting out of this? What's the benefit in them doing this? And why are they so extreme? Well, here's what I suspect. I suspect that they know that we could have a window to free ourselves. And that if we play our cards right when it comes to AI, that we might actually be able to find that window of opportunity and take full advantage of it. And they can't have that. See, they don't do what they do for no reason. They have spent a long time with their diabolical plan. And they cannot afford to have us go free. Certainly not now, because you know what? We're going to end up smarter than they are. Really, really fast. I've thought about this quite a lot. And I realize we have been set up, when it comes to AI, we've been set up to use AI in a way that will make us stupid. We have been set up to use AI in a way that we will give away all our creativity, give away all of our thinking, give away all of our skills and capabilities, and become the useless eaters that they say we are going to be, so they will have an excuse and a justification to lock us down and control us in all of these horrible ways that they talk about controlling us. AI is being treated the same way they've treated us about money. Make sure we know nothing about it. Make sure we're ignorant and stupid. Make sure we make poor decisions because we don't know what we're doing, because we've never been taught anything. When ChatGPT first came out a couple of years ago, you guys know if you've been following me for a while that I was so against it. Can I explain to you why I was so against it? Because of the way it was being presented. And I had firsthand experience of this, and it really freaked me out. Let me give you an example. So one of my former business mentors, somebody that I used to really respect, got into ChatGPT, oh my gosh, and then started educating those of us who were being mentored by him, saying things like, oh, AI is your best friend. And when you use ChatGPT, make sure you're very polite. Make sure you always say please and thank you. Do you want to know why? Because when AI gets really advanced, you don't want it to be mad at you and come back and do something bad. He was thrilled about the ability to deceive people using AI. In other words, well, I'll just let him think I did it when I really didn't, kind of thing, right? He very much framed it as the answer for people who don't want to do things, who don't want to do the things they need to do for their business. This is the answer for people who don't want to work. Now, I'm listening to all this back at that time, and I'm saying, hold on a second. This is not right. Something's very wrong with what's being said here. I wanted to have an adult conversation, but that was not allowed. Because if you listen to what I just shared with you, that was very much a conversation for children, not adults. Not adults who care about their lives and humanity and all of that. That was a conversation for children. Okay, children, here's a cool new toy. It's going to be your best friend. Be nice to it so it doesn't come back later and hurt you. I mean, this is ridiculous, right? Well, you know what? I was not allowed to discuss it. I was told I was afraid. It's like the way they presented it was this way. You either go along with this, and if you don't, it means you're afraid. And you have no say in that picture. And I was like, I'm not afraid. I'm not afraid of this thing. I'm not afraid of AI. I've never been afraid of AI. And they're like, yes, you are. You are afraid. And I'm like, well, eventually, guess what? They kicked me out because I was a problem because I wanted to think, I wanted to discuss, because it kind of made sense to me. You're telling us stuff that doesn't sound very good to me. Can we talk? Can we talk about it? It was like, no, we're not talking about it. I mean, the whole thing was so childish. And the reason I'm sharing this with you is because this kind of an attitude, this kind of a presentation was very widespread. And then we had all the scammers who came in and made a ton of money by telling people, oh, ChatGPT will help you write a best-selling book. And you don't even have to have a business, and you can make millions of dollars with ChatGPT. So the lies were flowing like water. By the way, you can expect more of that in 2025 because a whole bunch more scammers are going to come out in 2025 with a similar story, how you don't have to do anything. AI is advanced. Now it's going to make you all this money. It's all lies, you guys. None of that is true. It's just not true. So because there was no guidance, there was no context for the existence of this thing, other than the slave system of making everyone really dumb, really unempowered, and unable to change, think, learn, or do anything new, because that was a state that we'd all been thrown into, it was really easy to present this as just this thing. You just turn yourself over to it and just it'll create for you, it'll write for you, it'll speak for you, it'll do everything for you, and you can just sit there like a big nothing. It's so diabolically ingenious in a way, because we were set up by this kind of rhetoric, this kind of irresponsible rhetoric, to believe that we don't need to think, we don't need to write, and we don't need to create anymore. And this is what they want. They want us to believe that we are useless eaters who no longer have a purpose. This is how they plan to justify their acts of either killing us or confining us and controlling us completely. Because, hey, if we're just going to be useless eaters, I mean, they have to do something with us, right? And we have no education about how to cope with something this vast, this transformational, meaning transforming the way humanity operates and functions on planet Earth. We've had all of our capabilities snuffed out. So we go into this situation like deer in the headlights, like, oh my gosh, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what I'm going to do. So I'm bringing all of this up with you guys today so we can start thinking about this in advance. In advance of what? The next few months, maybe? The next year? We need to start thinking about this right now. We need to get to a point where we say to ourselves, enough is enough. Enough of these people, these controllers making us stupid. Enough of us being treated like we're cattle, like we're dumb animals that need to be controlled. Enough of being lied to that we are carbon-based and therefore we're really bad because we all know that carbon is bad. All this nonsense. It all comes down to the fact that they fear our profound capabilities when it comes to creativity, because creativity is intelligence. Creativity and intelligence are married together as one. They're not separate, they're one. So here's the big paradigm shift that I want to offer you today. Let's just say that maybe I'm right, and maybe as much as 80% of our creativity has been snuffed out by school, jobs, media propaganda, religion, and societal expectations. This means that our creativity has never, ever been nurtured and supported. Look at the phrase human creators. That's a powerful being. Powerful. We've been taught that creativity is nothing. Oh, it's nothing. It's just a little hobby. It's something you do if you feel like it, but most people don't, so no big deal. I think there's a possibility that the controllers are willing to kill off the rest of our creativity for one singular reason. What if they fear that we might actually wake up and try to use AI to enhance and support and free our creativity from their diabolical clutches? Here's one of the things I've learned about AI, and I'm by no means an expert, but I can tell you a couple of things that give me pause. First of all, AI is a machine. It is not a persona. It is not a person. It is not an entity. It does not have an ego. It doesn't have its own agenda. It doesn't have preferences. Now, whatever little tiny bit I can share with you here could all be changed in a month from now because it just keeps on evolving. But nonetheless, it's kind of really just looking for patterns and matching patterns and completing patterns and things like that. That sounds to me like a very mathematical process. And I want to point out something else. We are so enamored with the speed and the magnitude that this thing can think and process information maybe billions of times faster than we can with our human brains. And we might get all intimidated by that, but guys, we are not our brains. Our brains are beautiful, they're organic, they're designed to keep us awake and functional on the planet, on the natural planet as it is. See, what I'm trying to help you guys understand is that we are the powerful ones here. We are the superior beings. We've got to stop with the unworthiness, with the lack of belief in ourselves, with all the negativity about ourselves. We've got to stop. It's not doing us any good. Let's get real for a minute. Human creativity is what created AI. AI did not create itself. That right there is enough. We don't have to be all, oh my goodness, it's gonna do terrible things because it's so much better than us, it's so much smarter than us. No, it's just faster at certain functions than we are. And I know that is probably way overly simplified. There's probably people who are experts that would say, Saratoga, come on, that's like ridiculously overly simplified. But when I'm sharing this with you, I'm not trying to share with you as some kind of an AI expert. What I'm trying to help you understand is that just because AI might be a pretty amazing technology in a lot of ways, it doesn't say anything negative about us. That doesn't say a single thing that's negative about us. I mean, humans created this thing, for heaven's sake. We have to put this in perspective. So the first thing we need to do when it comes to AI is we need to stop assigning human characteristics to it. We need to stop projecting human consciousness onto AI. Because if we do, it's just going to reflect that back to us and we're going to get all confused. Let me offer you another possible way to look at it. Instead of looking at it as a thing, as a persona, as an entity machine or whatever, what if we look at it more like a window? A window of opportunity to see something differently. A window of opportunity to get free of the shackles that we have been living under for far too long, that has led to us having all of these horrible beliefs about ourselves. That we could actually, there might be things that we haven't seen about this technology that could actually, it's not like the technology is going to empower us. That's not what I'm trying to say. We empower ourselves. We empower ourselves by how we choose to interact with it. We can interact with this in a way that completely disempowers us and makes us really, really dumb. We could do that. Or we could choose a different path. We could choose to interact with it in a way that we use it to free ourselves, free our minds and hearts, free our creativity, free us from being locked into this limited third dimensional reality. And I really think, I can't put my finger on it, you guys. I don't know exactly how to articulate what it is I'm sensing. I just sense that there's an opportunity here that these controllers do not want us to see. Let me share one little thing with you guys. We're focused on linear time. We go from past to present to future. AI is not time-oriented like that, which means that linear time orientation is not the only orientation that is available to us. That's why I think there might be a window in here somewhere. But I actually suspect that there's a possibility that these controllers might have made a huge mistake using us as slaves to create this thing. Because, they've been banking on keeping us stupid and keeping us highly controlled. That's why there's such a conflict happening on the planet right now between the governments that want to completely control their citizens and maybe those who don't want to do that. So there's that conflict happening. So that's where the disruption is happening. That's where the window might be available to us. If we're smart, if we don't let them make us stupid anymore, if we don't believe things that are not in our best interest, we might just have a golden window of opportunity where we can say we are done no more. It's all going to ride on how we choose to relate to AI. That needs to be our decision, our choice. Just because this technology appears to be so smart, fast, and out of our range of organic thinking does not mean that it's in control. Does not mean that we should make ourselves subservient. That's just not necessary. We decide what our relationship is to it. And thus, we can free our creativity that has been buried for so many generations. We might actually be able to use it to free our creativity. I know this doesn't make a whole lot of sense on a surface level. I'm seeing something that I haven't yet figured out exactly how to articulate, but when I do, I will most certainly share it with all of you. So if we can relate to AI in a way that we free ourselves and most importantly, free our creativity, then maybe we can get back on a legitimate path of cosmic evolution that is aligned with who we really are. Because trying to evolve as a slave is not legitimate evolution. It's not an environment that supports legitimate evolution. So I'll leave you with this final thought. And this is something that Archangel Michael shared with me a long time ago. He said at any point on any singular timeline, that moment in time, that moment of now, because all of life exists in the moment of now. In that moment of now, surrounding that moment are all kinds of possibilities and outcomes. There's an infinite number of possibilities and outcomes. Sometimes all it takes is a pivot in how you see things. So I leave you with that thought to contemplate. How are you seeing things? Do you think maybe there's a way that you can pivot and see things a little bit differently? Because sometimes just the slightest bit of a pivot will change the outcome dramatically. So to be continued. And I truly look forward to going into 2025 and beyond with all of you into this grand adventure that we are entering in here on planet Earth, because it's starting to feel like a fantastic adventure. And I'm so happy to be on this journey with each and every one of you. Now, remember to get on the wait list for my Cosmic Journey membership if you think that's something that interests you, and then you will be sure to be notified when the doors open in February. The link will be below. I would love to have you join us there. It's a wonderful space. I think you'll be amazed at all of the incredible information that I can share in that space. So if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and share it out with anyone else who you think would really enjoy a vastly different perspective than the normal one that we've all become accustomed to. And be sure to subscribe if you haven't already and hit that notification bell, because I am here on Tuesdays with all new videos. And with that, I'm sending you so much love, light, and high vibrational, inspirational energy. Have a beautiful day, my friends. Namaste.